Debt accumulates and is burdensome. No longer can nations withstand any more debt without creating a major issue down the road. The debt has become unpayable in most nations. Each individual contributes to that debt, and in fact, right now, we are in the most amount of debt ever. Well, that's why you came here for the truth. So let's look today at US, Canada being in the most debt ever. I have various articles and indicators to look at, but I want to make it very brief. So let's look at this. Americans are dying with an average of $62,000 in debt. When you realize that an individual holds on to this debt throughout their lives, they cannot pay off their mortgages, they cannot pay off their credit card debt and lines of credit and everything else, you realize that there is a situation. It's not just a choice that a lot of people are making. They simply do not have the money. Sure, there are some who refuse, who may be able to pay off the debt, but they choose not to. But I feel, based on the statistics that I have read, is that people are just simply cash strapped. They don't have the money to pay off their debt. They end up passing it along. That's not just for the US, but I've seen that pretty much all over the world. Maximizing the amount of debt that one has seems to be a trend. Moving to Canada, household debt hits a fresh record with Canadians owing $2 trillion. And the reason that $2 trillion of debt, household debt, is significant is something I'll show you in the next article. When you look at debt, you need to understand there's different types of debt. There's corporate debt, there's the national debt, and there is household debt, just to name a few. Household debt, I believe, is critical because it shows you the individual. It shows you how people are doing today. If they have to consume a maximum amount of debt, then they probably don't have the cash on hand. When interest rates are low, there's an incentive not to save to borrow more. However, I would say that people seem to, they wouldn't be maxing out on the amount of debt that they could be. This is just what's happening right now. Canada is a particular instance that you have a lot of debt simply because of the housing prices. This is out of the Financial Post. For the first time, the level of debt held by Canadians has exceeded the country's GDP, gross domestic product, as the red ink spilled over the second quarter to 100.5% of the GDP, up from 98.7% during the previous 3-month period. So a massive spike which had occurred in a very short period of time. People are buying houses here in Toronto. Let's take the example where you have homes that cost, on average, in the greater Toronto area, let's say the area surrounding Toronto, well over $700,000. The wages, though, you would expect, okay, well, if a house costs $700,000, then people are getting paid a lot of money. Well, actually, no, they're not. So people just take on debt, more and more and more and more and more debt. They'll never probably be able to pay it back. If interest rates go up 250 basis points, this is according to the BIS, the Bank for International Settlements, 250 basis points from where they are today, and right now you're looking at 0.5%, you will have an economic crisis. That is not the money GPS. That is not in the global economic collapse, reading a quote from it. No, that's the BIS, the Bank for International Settlements. They said it, I didn't. I happen to agree with it though. So this right here is basically just showing you the amount in Canada. Look around the world. Look at what you have. You have negative interest rates. You have low interest rates. You have risk and fragility appearing all over the place. And it doesn't seem to be geographically focused at all. It's all over the globe. Housing debt, student loans, credit card, auto loans, credit inquiries. We're looking here right out of the Fed's own report, okay? And what we have is different types of debt. I'm only going to cover just a couple quick points. The one that I really wanted to mention is right here. You're looking at 11.2% of aggregate student loan debt was 90 plus days delinquent or in default. Student debt is the biggest bubble, and I believe it says in this report here that's actually bigger than many of the other bubbles that had appeared during the financial crisis. If I'm not mistaken, it was one portion of the housing bubble. There's $617 billion in newly originated mortgages this quarter, the highest level since, financial crisis. Just before everything, particularly in the housing sector, started to take a dip. Mortgages, once again, being pushed out there, maximizing the amount of debt that people are in. By the way, this is the US. Maximizing the amount of debt that people are in. And of course, you have a situation leading up to, again, the financial crisis, part 2. There's many more instances here of the debt that people have accumulated, why this is dangerous. It doesn't take a genius, a rocket scientist to figure this out. So take a look at it for yourself. And I think that it is important. You could pause the video, or you can just look at the link after. It'll be in the description if you're interested. And I thought this was interesting. I wanted to bring it up to you. It's a little unrelated, but Microsoft has so far refused to reveal how it modified its Windows 10 version for use in China for the Chinese government. And, Wall Street Journal had reported on this. And they've even told the China Daily, we've already developed the first version of Windows 10 government secure system. They've developed this Chinese government-friendly version of the software in partnership with the state-owned China Electronics Technology Group. It's been tested by the large enterprise customers. Okay, so what we have here is collaboration. Now, I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. I just note that there is a lot of backdoors that are being put into the systems that we use today. It's just a matter of fact. And then you look at everything that's happened with the CIA spying, the NSA spying. They're making a big deal about what's happening with, Trump being spied on. We're all being spied on. We're all being surveilled. They formulate these lists of who's being spied on and all this stuff. We're all, every single one of us right now, they're listening to my voice. They're listening to your voice. They're hearing this come out of your computers and your phones. They're listening to you talk to your family on the phone. They're recording it. They're databasing it. When you drive down the street, all of those cameras are taking pictures of your license plate. They know where you are. They then synchronize that with the GPS in your phone, the GPS in your car. The fact that your computer has a chip inside of it that wirelessly, when it's off, wirelessly sends out signals. For what purpose? You tell me. This is all being done according to their plans. It's been admitted. It's been documented. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out. All you have to do is open your eyes. And when I look at the stock markets, when I look at the true indicators that we have today, everything spells disaster. Am I saying that it's going to crash in a deflationary environment? No. Look at Venezuela. Look at what happened. It's crashing, but it's crashing on the way up dramatically. It's an incredible rise in the stock market, but it's being devalued significantly. I don't know the way it's going to go. All I know is that things on the inside, on the real inside, are getting really, really bad. So, if you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. When you give me a thumbs up, it helps to push these videos higher up in the YouTube search rankings. People will then be able to see them. They'll know that this is good content. You don't necessarily have to share it on your Facebook and Twitter and all that, although I do appreciate that. Giving a thumbs up, commenting when you subscribe to the channel, this helps push everything up. So I do appreciate that very much. If you found the video informative, I know you'll find my books even more informative. So, when you go over to Amazon, they have this look inside feature, and it's going to allow you to flip through the pages of these books and see if you like it. This is the description, brief little intro to these books. If you want to take a look and read that, take care.